with 100 receiving yards or more, passing Rob Gronkowski for the most ever by a tight end. And there is still work to be done. As for the Chargers, heartbreaking loss here as they look like they might get over the hump against Big Brother, a team that's had their number, but no such luck for Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now 25 straight wins in the months of November and December. Oh, it was a fun one, so we turn to our guys, the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and NFL analyst Ryan Wilson. Guys, it feels almost inappropriate to say at times, but Patrick Mahomes, too much clock. That was the story in this one as Mahomes drives his team down the field. Another game-winning drive. B-Mac, I'll give you the first thought here on what was an entertaining ball game. You walk away feeling what?
Mad. I'm angry because I wanted overtime. Yes, that might have been selfish of me, but the football game that I just watched was outstanding. I was rooting for the Chargers to somehow find a way to get into field goal range, to hit a field goal so we can see extra football. Two outstanding quarterbacks go toe-to-toe. Outstanding matchup, of course, in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. And money Pat Mahomes was once again money. This man, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 329 to be exact, 20 of 34. The connection between Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce is so good. I mean, my goodness, when you talk about seeing two outstanding players do what they've been called to do and do it at a high level, I don't think there's another better quarterback pass catcher combo in the National Football League. And they just took this game over in the second half. They made timely plays on the defensive side. This was an outstanding ball game. And when you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs have going on, I mean, I understand record-wise, they're not the best team in the National Football League. We know that goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. But based on production and just how efficient they've been, you have to like their chances of being one of the best teams in the National Football League currently.
You mentioned the tight end quarterback combination there, B-Mac. Travis Kelce, he plays like a wide receiver. He has 11 receiving touchdowns on the year. That's better than anyone else in the NFL. One ahead of Devontae Adams, who had a couple today with the Raiders. And I think the point for me in terms of the last 30 minutes of that football game, at half we talked about the mistakes that the Chiefs made in the first half with the penalties. They had 4 penalties at the break, 0 penalties after the break. They ended up going 5 for 10 on third downs after a slow start on third downs to start the game. And Patrick Mahomes was 11 of 22 in the first half, 9 of 12 in the second half. B-Mac mentioned he got over that 300-yard mark, and they minimized the mistakes. Jared McKinnon had that fumble, of course, but they made up for that. And I guess the lesson here is you have to leave exactly 0 seconds on the clock, because anything more than that means that the Chiefs have a real chance of winning, not a shot in the dark. They marched right down the field. Derwin James was covering Travis Kelce on that last play. Derwin James is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. He had no chance on that crossing route, and that just served as a microcosm of just how good that tandem is, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and how, when they want to be, they're unstoppable. And we saw that again today in the second half.
Yeah, it boils down those drives to confidence in the play calling and confidence in your quarterback. And I don't know that there's a better doer when it comes to that than Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, and getting their guys in space and succeeding late in games. They had about 90 seconds to do it, a little bit over that, and got it done in just about a minute driving down the field and scoring here. This felt like a moment for the Chargers. That possible getting over the hump and ascending to that echelon you want to occupy. And it didn't end up being that, Ryan. But as you take a look at this Chargers team, the effort they put forth, a losing effort, but did you see growth here on Sunday night?
Yeah, and B-Mac talked about it before the game. When you're getting Mike Williams and Keenan Allen back, that's a game changer. And Joshua Palmer absolutely stepped up. Now, Mike Williams only played a handful of snaps. He got hurt, re-injured that ankle, it looked like. But there were certainly, this play right here, Keenan Allen made you think, that was on 3rd and 18, I believe, in the fourth quarter. It made you think, okay, this is the time that the Chargers aren't going to charger it up. Didn't work out that way, but there are reasons for optimism. Without a doubt. Now, they got to get some of these players healthy, including Mike Williams. But here's the thing, Joe and B-Mac. There was a chance to be 6-4, which would have dropped the Chiefs to 8-3. 7-3. They'd be just one game behind them in the division. Instead, we're at 5-5 and 8-2. And look, it ain't over. We're not at Thanksgiving yet, but it certainly feels like it's over in terms of winning that division if you're the Chargers. Now you have to figure out a way to backdoor your way in as a wild card, and that's a huge ask when you're sitting at 500 right now.
Yeah, growth clearly on the offensive side. I really felt like we would see more production from Justin Herbert, just knowing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were slated to play. We did see that. Palmer had a huge game. But there's still some areas of concern for the Chargers. And I'm talking about the defensive side. Once again, stopping opposing offenses' rushing attack has been the Achilles heel for their defense. The Chiefs, and we know the Chiefs don't usually run the football against anybody. 163 yards on the ground in totality offensively from the Chiefs. That's not winning football for the Chargers. I understand they're dealing with a lot of injuries, especially there on the front, but they have to find a way to become stout and more physical at the point of attack to be able to be more productive against offenses that they face, because regardless of who's healthy offensively for Justin Herbert and crew, if their defense don't find a way to become better in stopping the ground and pound attack, they will continually be in shootouts like we saw tonight.
Yeah, the Chiefs ran the ball effectively, and then on that final drive, essentially getting to what they wanted when they wanted. And when, I think, is the operative term here, because 25 straight now in the months of November and December for this Chiefs team. B-Mac, give us an idea of how things change around this time of the season in terms of what the players are experiencing, some of the things they're going through, and why the Chiefs are so effective when we do get to these crunch time months.
Well, just speaking from a personal experience, you know, Mike Tomlin used to tell us all the time in November football, December football, you have two teams. You have teams that are thriving and teams that are just trying to survive. Which one are you? Because those teams that are thriving, they have their eyes set on the prize, which is getting to the postseason and causing damage. The teams that are just trying to survive, they're just trying to get through the season. And that's what we're seeing with the Chiefs. That's what we've seen in years past. When it gets to November, December, this team, they decide to thrive and thrive in a direction that a lot of teams don't get a chance to go to. And because of that, they're always in that conversation. And when you talk about the consistency, it starts and stops with the head coach. The thick mustache, Andy Reid. He keeps these guys dialed in and week out, and they have talent. They have talent at the most important position. They have the best in the world. Yes, I'm saying it right now. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League right now. And you talked about the concerns with all the injuries to the wide receivers. Remember what I said. It don't matter. Pat Mahomes. It doesn't matter. One thing about great quarterbacks, they make average pass catchers look great, look good. And that's what we saw today. That's why I call him Money Pat Mahomes. Yeah. Remember what I said? Ja Morant and Chef Curry. That's what we were going to see tonight. And guess who won? The Chef Curry of the NFL.
I was going to say, I think it's pretty evident which one is which at this juncture. Great things out ahead of both Ja and Herbert, but it's pretty clear who the league runs through right now. And that's where I want to go next with you, Ryan Wilson, because 14-0 now is Pat Mahomes on the road in divisional games. I mean, we could frame the greatness in a number of different ways. You were ready to hand out a divisional title. Are you ready to hand out an MVP trophy? I mean, a lot can happen between now and the end of the season. We're not even to Thanksgiving just yet, but this seemed like a statement when it comes to that MVP race as well.
Yeah, I mean, who else are you going to give it to? Josh Allen is dealing with the elbow injury. They bounced back today, looked a little shaky early on in the game against the Browns. Other than that, yeah, and I think B-Mac isn't speaking out of school when he says Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Justin Herbert's in that conversation, but again, we see at the end of the games how these things sort themselves out, and it typically ends up, especially in November and December, always ends up with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes winning football games. And B-Mac touched on it. So Kadarius Toney went out early in the game. He didn't do anything. We knew that Mecole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster was out. So all Patrick Mahomes did was lean on Travis Kelce. No surprise there. Justin Watson got in. He played in the Ivy Leagues. My man had 3 catches for 67 yards. Sky Moore, who had seemed to lose his confidence earlier in the year when he struggled in terms of fielding punts as a returner, he got involved. 5 catches, 65 yards. Jody Fortson, the number 4 tight end, got involved. And you go down the list, and this is how you win football games. Look, you can lose a Steph Diggs, and it wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen struggled. No doubt about it. But it feels like, as B-Mac just noted, you can throw anybody out there. Joe, you can take your college career, go out there and play for the Chiefs. You're getting 5 catches, 65 yards next Sunday.
I mean, I was trying to sell that to Andy Reid at the Combine. No such luck, as I do find myself here with you wonderful gentlemen. It is a nice fallback. I will offer that. Let's talk about that playoff picture that you alluded to just a bit ago here, Ryan. That AFC playoff picture, major movement here with the win by the Chiefs. They all but cement, I know it's dangerous to say, that divisional title now at 8-2 with a 3-game berth between them and the Chargers, which they just took care of, now sitting at 5-5. Everyone beyond that in that division, sort of an afterthought. As we take a look at this picture, it's also important that we note Kansas City, when it comes to opponent strength of schedule, has the easiest schedule remaining in the NFL. B-Mac, when you take a look at this, and you can go beyond the Chiefs here, but just some of your thoughts when it comes to the AFC and how this picture is really starting to galvanize. Obviously, some questions between the Bills and the Dolphins right now and elsewhere, but do you think it looks a whole lot different than what we're looking at right now in 2 months' time?
No, I think we can see the final 7 spots looking like this. My thing, when you look at the teams that are currently in the hunt, who do you trust? Who do you believe in more? All 3 teams have concerns, major concerns. So do we believe they have enough, either Jets, Chargers, or Colts, to be able to find a way to get into the top 7? I'm not quite ready to say that. The Jets, offensively, they had 2 total yards in 7 drives in the second half. Nothing else needs to be said. Chargers, defensively,